Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Wizard of Legend on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, after successfully defeating Freya and acquiring the Sanguine Attire, we are almost going to finish this run. I was mistaken in the last part. We mostly because this is the shorter part, and what's going to happen during the next part specifically. So, yeah, and we are going to get very close to finishing this run in this part. All we're actually doing in this part specifically is going through the Earthen Domain and taking down Atlas. And yes, I'm going to spoil that we're going to take down Atlas. I mean, look at how powerful we are. Thanks to the Sanguine Attire, virtually every other time we attack and the analytical module, we effectively get a small amount of our health back. So I can't actually tank infinite damage, but I can heal infinite damage effectively.
Yeah, there's one thing I've learned in survival mode settings, as this is kind of like survival mode, because you can't die. You do not get second chances if you die, and you're supposed to go as far as possible as you can without dying.
Right.
Typically, having lots of health as you advance through the game improves your probability of victory.
Right.
I could say that about doing Soul Calibur. I could say that about games where, like, you start from a save point, for example. You don't technically save the game in this game, but you do have full health at the start.
Right.
If you can keep full health, great. It's not that having lots of health, because having health means is that you can continue playing, and the Sanguine Attire is not the only one that can. Okay, maybe it's the best at keeping your health up, but there's always a trade-off. You know, maybe you're not dealing as much damage. Maybe you're not exploiting the weaknesses of the bosses or enemies that you're fighting. Maybe you're not moving as fast.
For the record, a lot of the curse relics specifically inflict you with lowered movement, and that's a good reason. That's a good reason why I end up skipping out on a good portion of curse relics, because as you get more mechanically adept at the game, it becomes quite clear that your movement is significantly more important than your damage. Your ability to react and correctly respond to incoming threats is significantly more deterministic of how well your run goes than how much damage you have the ability to do in single Arcana casts. That said, one of my favorite relics is still, in fact, the Amulet of Sundering, simply because it's a flat damage steroid. You know, it's not a great damage steroid, to be perfectly honest. I think it's 8% in total, but it is something that I like running.
So as long as you avoid taking damage, then the fight will keep going. Doesn't matter that your attack output every cycle is jack. That the fight goes on as long as either the boss or the player has health.
Alright, we're almost done with this floor. 97%.
We've got to take out a few more bushes and a few more rhododendrons. Smack.
And yes, every time you hear me cut through a grass or a foliage, those can actually drop additional coins for you.
Yeah, they're doing the Castlevania thing, which is nice.
Mind you, it's a tad annoying that they can all have a chance of dropping coins, because you end up skipping a lot of them, to be perfectly honest, or at least I do.
Well, the pitfall, one pitfall of mediocre games is that they force you to go through too much environment without having anything to interact with, and you get the feeling like, boy, this is a really empty world. Thank God I actually have a destination, but this corridor sucks.
Yes, Cloud, we're still going through Freelancer.
Yeah. There are other games that have that problem too. I just can't think of them right now because I like good games.
Castlevania Curse of Darkness actually has that for several areas, like going through going through Clocktown very specifically. A lot of those staircases are fucking empty.
Yeah, and it's boring.
I wouldn't say it's boring because it's what it's trying to do specifically is set up tension for the next major encounter, because they are trying to set you up for the next major encounter with this downtime. Thing is, there isn't a lot that you can actually do in that downtime aside from dread, you know.
No, but I mean, now I feel like I'm listening to analysis on movies. Like, do you want a movie to just be a bunch of filler in between the good parts, or do you want every part to be the good part?
Okay, I prefer happy mediums in between that, to be perfectly honest, because a lot of times what other people would refer to as filler in action movies are actually some of the better character moments for them.
Oh, you mean like that one scene in Suicide Squad where they're all just at the bar, they're ready to give up, and they're saying, "Well, I'm gonna get drunk and throw my hands back and put my feet up because I am about to die."
Well, the thing is, that's actually a very important scene for Diablo himself, and no one else really gets to have a decent moment there. But Diablo and Rick Flag try to have a decent moment there, and I actually like the moment that Diablo gets.
You know, and then the good part, like half-naked Enchantress doing a dance and then possessing people by kissing them on the lips.
Yeah, did she have to actually do that? I'm not actually all that familiar with.
Of course she didn't have to. It's sexier that way. God damn it!
That way, but I don't recall what Enchantress's power set actually is classically. So I don't recall if she actually needs to engage in physical contact in order to do her possession stuff.
I mean, you know, it was nice. It was nice that Starfire explained in an episode that she learns languages in locales by mouth contact. That they had to explain that so that the power is understood, because any powers that are not explained are technically non-existent.
And then in season 4, when we actually see the original team up for the team, Starfire French kisses Robin in order to immediately understand and speak English.
Bro, we don't know if she put her tongue in.
Yes, we do.
Ooh la la.
All right. The Earthen Summoners, or in the Elemental Summoners in general, are not honestly all that threatening, but they can actually chip you down if you're not paying attention to them. So, I don't actually, because they're not actually all that big on my threat list, I end up usually just leaving them alone. However, a majority of the other Earthen Elementals are absolutely rancid with stuff that you end up needing to pay attention to pretty immediately. The warriors, very specifically, their shields aren't all that important, but one of the other elemental variants of the warriors, I think it's the ice one, specifically has a shield that actively reflects projectiles. And given how heavy with projectiles I am at the moment, that can in fact be a huge issue for me.
Any more smacking flowers over here?
Yes. There are always more smacking flowers, Mr. Cloud.
Smackers. You know, the use of smackers throughout the map, honestly, is ingenious, albeit is very familiar and somewhat cliche for people who have played games that are similar to this.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to finish off. Then we're going. I think we're actually going to go and sell. Well, no, we probably aren't going to actually go sell anything, because the only things that we want to sell right now would be either our Claws of Tomo or our Gaia Shovel. So, and given that we actually have two relatively powerful Earth Arcana on us, the Gaia Shovel is actually being a decent steroid for us.
Shut this motherfucker down.
Like so. Okay, yeah, we are actually going to sell something. As Annotation Grid mentions here, yes, I am leaning really heavily on the Sanguine Attire, but I have successfully cleared runs without it. It's just that, you know, I have got access to a Sanguine Attire relatively early, so I decided to use it. Antiquated Tabby, and a potion. Alright.
Right. Just like I'm sure people can beat this game without getting hit. Like I'm sure every weapon style in this game is plausible.
I don't know, man. Mag Sphere is just really fucking bad. Anyway, we are back to Atlas.
The Earth Lord. Time to get down and dirty.
And remember, the Earth stuff very specifically is only doing about half as much damage as it's supposed to against him, and he's already down to about half health.
Well, that's good. Because we got a lot more pain to deliver. Ow, that hurt.
Yeah, that hurt a lot. But...
That's it. That hit us for 200 health.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Pillars Man. With your stupid hairdo. I am the king of the earth. Yeah.
And Earthquake Axe to finish him off. Haha.
Yep. Farewell. See you on my next playthrough.
Ooh, we got Obsidian Cascade. I actually really like that one. It's a wind elemental one, though. In the next episode, we take down Sura. Or at least we fight Sura. I forget if we take him down or not. Be safe, everybody.